get to do that once a year. Good afternoon to all. Happy New Year. Congratulations to our returning board members and, of course, our newest board member. We are delighted you're here. Now that everybody's sworn in and they've taken their oath, I get to hold elections. A brief word about how our elections proceed. We do everything openly. The first thing we'll do will be nomination for board chair. A nomination does not need to be seconded. You can self-nominate, but if someone is nominated, I will ask that person if they wish to serve. So some people may not want to serve. You do not need a second if there's more than one, or actually if there's more than two, then if no one gets a majority of 4 votes, the lowest vote person would drop out, leaving it ability to have a majority. So with that, and then we'll do the same thing for vice chair. With that, I will open up to the floor any board member who wants to be recognized for the purposes of nominating another board member for chair. Do I have anybody that wants to nominate anyone for board chair?
I'm right.
Mr. Mansell, I recognize you.
Thank you. I nominate Marcus Edgy for board chair.
Well, I'll ask you this, Mr. Edgy, after having served a year, are you willing to serve if you're elected?
I'd like to have a few minutes to consult with my counsel, if that's okay.
So you are willing to serve?
Indeed.
We do not need a second. Are there other nominations from the floor other than for Mr. Edgy? I'm looking around. I'm not seeing any hands go up. So let's still vote. Even though we have one nomination, those in favor of Marcus Edgy for board chair, please raise your right hand so we can see. It looks to be unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Chair. I'll continue on, and then you can have the gavel after that. Same rules apply. You can self-nominate. Do not need a second. If there are multiple nominations, the only thing I'll ask is, if elected, are you willing to serve? So, yes, sir.
Ms. Sams, please.
Ms. Sams. Ms. Sams, if you are elected, are you willing to serve as vice chair?
I am.
All right. I look around. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Seeing none, we will still vote. All those in favor of Ms. Sams to be our vice chair, please signify by raising your hand. It is unanimous. Congratulations. Nobody has to move.
That's the only reason we did it.
That's
by design.
Are you satisfied with your seat? Because if there's movement, move around. Okay, Mr. Chair, congratulations to both of you. From a personal standpoint, y'all did a wonderful job last year. Take it over, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. I appreciate it. Looking forward to getting started with 2021, for sure. I guess we'll start off by the review and signing of the board ethics policy document. I've got it here. This is a document we sign every year. It's actually affixed up on the wall and in all the school buildings. It's just, I'll read the first part of it, then I'm just going to pass it around for everybody to sign. The Glynn County Board of Education desires to operate in the most ethical and conscientious manner possible. And to that end, the board adopts this code of ethics, and each member of the board agrees that he or she will, and it hits all the different domains that we sign every year. So I'm going to pass this around. You should have had time to review it. It was part of the package on your email. So I'll sign it.
I want to point out for Ms. Gibbons, since this is your first year, this document we did not create. This is created by the state of Georgia. This was a local bill that requires all Board of Education members in the state to take and sign yearly the Code of Ethics. So it is not a local document, but it is required.
Very well. So it's coming around now, and there's a blue pen coming
And
with
you
it.
can't make changes to it.
Can't?
You cannot, Ms. Betts. Make changes to it.
Alrighty.
Hit.
Oh, sorry.
You want to just keep using the same? That's blue though, isn't it?
It
Never
is,
mind.
but,
Never mind.
I mean, while we're passing around COVID, we can go ahead and just
Yeah.
use the same one.
Just sanitize your hands. All right, as
Got
that's
my
going
second
around, I'll
thing.
go ahead and go to item number 4 and turn it over to Dr. Spence for the items of information.
Let's see these pins.
First here, I have Ms. Preston
Dee Dee's, I
for our
think.
financial update.
Happy New Year.
It is.
Happy New Year.
So besides the November financial report, we'll go over in a moment. The only other financial update I have is the employees are getting their stipend tomorrow. $600 for full-time and $300 for part-time. So that'll go in the bank tomorrow. We're gonna skip down to my stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so financial report for November. The general fund, we only had one budget amendment that affected revenues and expenditures, and that was a Georgia Power Foundation grant to GICA for the engineering class to buy programmable logic controllers for $13,900. The year-to-date revenues represent 68.4% of the budget. Local tax receipts for November were $49.4 million. That's where we get the bulk of our largest month where people are paying their taxes. Year-to-date expenses represent 34.9% of the budget, and the budget position is 41.7. My sales tax information is old. I know you've heard it. October sales tax collections were received in November in the amount of $2.1 million, which was 4% higher than last November. And for year-to-date, we are almost 4.5% higher than last fiscal year. It's unbelievable that our sales tax is doing so well, considering there's a pandemic going on. But the only other thing I'd point out for November is, we're obviously tracking behind on our expenditures due to vacant positions again, so we're saving money again this year. We did get notified that the state is getting more CARES Act money. Was it $54 billion? So, like last year, we got CARES Act money, but we also got our FTE funding cut. So it'll be interesting to see if they, play eggshell game again, take money away from education and fill it with federal money and then divert that money somewhere else. But we'll see. I'm not sure when we're supposed to get it. Is it for the end of the fiscal year? I didn't see that.
They're just saying it's coming.
It's coming.
I think everyone's waiting for what happens in Washington DC before they really finalize anything.
Right.
Ms. Preston,
Yes.
on the CARES Act money, is that money that is allocated for certain things, or is that can go towards the general budget?
It did go towards the general budget technically this year, so we used it to help pay for salaries out of the operating budget because our state funds got cut. So it basically offset the cut from the state.
And the COVID leave,
And the cost of COVID leave. but
cost of COVID leave, we use.
That was $3.4 million. I can't remember the last allocation. Was it $54 billion or?
I want to say, no, the one before was less than this. This is supposed to be more than
Yeah.
what we got.
Of course, that doesn't mean it's all going to K-12,
It doesn't mean we're going to get,
Post-secondary gets some. The governor used some of the stuff we got last year for internet for districts
and this has more provisions for private schools also.
yeah.
Seems like there's a little more provisions for private schools this time.
So we'll see how that shakes out. So that's it for November financial, if there's any questions. We'll move on to, we're buying carts for the Chromebooks that the board approved last month to store them. And I believe they were state contract, right? Yes. Yes. $179,064.
The idea is that we're going to put a Chromebook cart in each homeroom in kindergarten, elementary and middle school, and then in our academic classes in high school. So there'll be we want to have a Chromebook cart in all of those classrooms. so that there won't have to be any sharing. The teachers will have them in their classroom.
Then the next thing I have, if there's no questions, the Promethean boards for the new Altama. We'll pull that one up. And that was bid out, can you, what, and that was STS Education, won that bid.
Go back to the carts.
Yep.
We get 200 of those?
What was the count on that? Chris, 200?
We're getting, we looked at what we have,
Right.
and we're getting enough so that we should have a cart in every elementary homeroom class, every middle school homeroom class, and every high school academic class.
Or, I mean, I'm just, that's $1,000 a cart.
We have carts already too now.
Is it something special then?
They charge in
They're
the,
charged, yeah.
Okay.
they're housed and charged.
And it has a lock on it, and
Yeah.
All right, so it's not just your.
It's not just a, no, it's not just a metal cart, it's where they're housed for charging.
They pulled the old projector thing off the top.
Yeah, it's the same ones that we've been buying, we're keeping it similar.
All right.
Yeah, when the kids put them in, they'll automatically start charging.
Okay.
Sorry, I just assumed you did.
All
Okay.
right.
Can you get back to the boards real quick too?
Yeah.
Please? I hadn't read the background yet, but
Make that a little bigger, please.
do you know why STS was ranked higher?
Okay.
I mean, clearly there's more money, and
Stephen's
when
been
money's the
working on it.
highest ranking, then it just,
Microtechnology didn't bid what we asked for. They
Okay.
didn't bid Promethean panels, they bid a subpar panel to us, and we've standardized this Promethean across the county,
okay,
so that's the reason STS.
all right. So they weren't disqualified, we still let them bid?
Right, well, we told them in the RFP, no substitutions for the panel, and they still turned in a substitution for the
Okay.
panel. So we still ranked them when they sent the bid in, but it wasn't.
I gotcha.
That's the reason they were ranked lower.
Thank you.
We bought from STS too.
Yeah, STS has done the last 3 or 4 purchases of
Yeah.
Promethean panels.
And I'm just assuming that 297 includes freight?
It includes
Okay.
freight, the mounts, all the hardware, and everything to set
Okay,
up.
all right, thank you.
The next is CB Greer is actually purchasing some with their after-school daycare profits. And again, STS Education was awarded that one too.
Did they give us the same, I mean, it'd be silly not to, but do we know if they gave us the same line item price on all the boards? Are they the same board that we just bought that Greer's buying?
It's the same boards. The last bid, they're doing the install and they're also doing sound systems. This is just a TV and just a mounting bracket. I believe our maintenance department's installing these.
Okay. But are they still, but, I mean, if you have an itemized quote that shows that the boards, that they're charging us the same for the boards?
I have the quote. I'd have to look and see if it's the same price or if they gave us a better price for the big order.
Big order.
I'd be curious just to see, you know.
He didn't put that as backup, did he?
If I were doing business, I would certainly pass that along to school systems that just spent $300,000, but I'm
Yeah,
just
but it
curious.
could be a timing issue. I think this
It could
bid
be.
was,
I mean,
this
yeah,
was
just-
definitely bid before the
Right.
Altama one, right?
Um,
Are you looking for it?
you know,
Okay.
And we can come back to it, and you,
What you're saying basically, Mike, is that you'd hope they take care of the 16 whenever we just bought a big
I understand
bulk,
if you're
but I think-
buying volume, but if it's a different school district and they want to charge us separate, then that's fine, but it's
Right.
technically the same school district, even
Yes,
though it's
but
going through.
I'm not sure about the timing of when this
Right.
was bid versus Altama.
It doesn't have to be tonight, but if you find out before we vote, if you will.
He's looking at it right
Yeah,
now.
Okay.
for Tuesday?
Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be fine. Thank you.
absolutely. Okay. And that's all that I have.
Any questions for Ms. Preston besides that one, and we'll get that answered hopefully before we leave for tonight.
If not, we'll definitely have it Tuesday.
That's
Or
fine.
we'll
That's
email it.
fine.
We'll
That's
email it out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Preston.
All right, thanks.
Next, I have Dr. Whitehead. We're going to do a COVID update.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Just to give you some updates of where we are with coming back to school and community statistics. So the information for today from the Department of Public Health shows that our 14-day community transmission index is at 420.7. And when we first started reporting this back to you, to give us an update of where we were back in October, we were at 288. So that shows that we're still continuing to see an increase in that 14-day transmission rate. We are, as of today, at a 32.4 for new cases per 100,000. And if you remember, even when Dr. Davis was here, information that was out there before indicated that school systems around the globe that had started back at 25 or under were the most successful, but that we've been able to maintain keeping school open, even trending above that number with the protocols that we've had in place. And our 7-day average is 27.86 cases. And of course, as we move forward with that 32 for today, it's probably going to increase that some. We are continuing to get reports yesterday and today from students that have been unable to return back because they've tested positive and have to complete their isolation before returning to school. That doesn't have us do contact tracing, obviously, because they haven't been in school to do that. But we have had 2 situations where students attended yesterday and then were found to be positive after testing yesterday at some point, that we did have to have some students go ahead and go home on quarantine starting today. We are following the new quarantine guidance that is out by CDC and the DPH version, so that instead of an automatic 14-day that we were looking at before, there are additional options if the students do not have symptoms during that time. If the parents choose to have them tested and they've not had symptoms, they can test after day 5, and they could return as early as day 8, as long as they have a negative test. If they don't want to test and the student remains asymptomatic, they could return on day 11, or the parent could choose to have the student out for the full recommended 14-day quarantine, and it would still be COVID absence, where we would be providing distance learning for that student through Google Classroom. So we are using that new protocol for students to be able to return to school. And then also a change for us related to that is our numbers in virtual for second semester. You may recall we were trending close to 30% of our school population in virtual for first semester. We had parents indicate they wanted students to return, and then schools also notified parents of students that were academically ineligible because that was not a successful environment for their students to be in. And as of today, we're sitting at 9% of our students remaining virtual. And so we have 9% at elementary, about 10% for high school, about 8% for middle school, and then when you do all the numbers for the total district, we're sitting at 9% still out on virtual.
So it sounds like we're back to where we were when we started in August, even though we had dropped as far down as about 120 range at one point.
The positive test, and I hate to get in the weeds on it, I just don't, but if they have a negative antigen test, are we letting them come back?
It has to be a PCR
Okay.
test.
I was just making sure, because the negative antigen test means nothing.
That's right.
It means you need to do a PCR, so.
Right.
Anyway.
We have to have a PCR, and our nurses and our principals got really good at recognizing which test pretty early on, because we had a few that came through with that, but we had some labs around us that were offering the blood test, and we weren't able to accept those through DPH because those don't make it into the DPH database as a acceptable test result, so.
There's a couple of things I'd like to share just from administration from the hospital. We're currently on a spike, and it should last another few days or up to about a week. Then it's going to go down a little bit, then it's going to go up again because of Christmas. Then it's going to go down a little bit, and it's going to go up again because of New Year's. And so we're looking at maybe April for things to start leveling out and staying low. That's number one. The other thing I wanted to mention, if somebody's had COVID once, we talk about a mask. Well, I already had it, so I won't get it. We have a person who got it again, who was a young, healthy person, got it twice. So that's a person I know, so it's not like I'm reading something on the internet or guessing. This is somebody within our system. So what I'm saying is we need to continue this in order to continue going to school. I know there's lots of rebelling still going on, but this is what does it. And we had a 30-something-year-old die, so it's not just the frail and challenged. You know, it could happen in other ways, plus the other strand. Not to get stuck in the weeds, but please keep wearing your masks and understand there's two more. After this one's finished, there's 2 more peaks coming, and hopefully the vaccine will be out. And we have lots of vaccine, by the way.
Yes.
So that's going from 1A, 1B, 1C. Now they're starting to go down into nursing homes and then scatter out from there. And there seems to be enough vaccine to get past that. So what I'm trying to say is get vaccinated, wear your mask, or we can get by this. I mean, that's what happened to smallpox. So, you know, when you beat it that way. So just, anyway. All right, I'm done. Sorry. Thank you.
So what test, just to clarify for public sake too, so what test are we accepting? Is it just the nasal swab that?
That is the only test right now that DPH gets into their database that we can confirm. And one of the reasons behind that was explained early on to us was that some of the antibody tests that are out there they would pick up any coronavirus. So you could get a positive for a common cold, but it may not. There may be other versions of that don't pick up COVID-19 at all.
The fingerprint rapid 30-minute test that we're not accepting to come back.
As long as they're a swab.
Okay.
And there are some rapid tests that are swab tests. So Glynn Immediate Care.
I'm talking about blood. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's not accepted.
Right.
Right. Okay.
That's more of an antigen.
Right. I got you. All right. Thank you.
Dr. Whitehead, I've heard rumors about teachers being able to be getting the vaccine by the end of the month. Can you explain, do you know anything about it? If so, can you explain what you've heard?
Yes, I actually touched base with Dr. Davis this week because I knew they were expanding. So Tier 1A was going to be healthcare frontline workers, and they've just expanded that to 65 and older and their caregivers. And so they started today accepting appointments to give those vaccinations out. Starting Monday, they'll be administering that. And Tier 1B is going to include educators. And so he's hopeful that hopefully by the end of this month, we'll start to be able to schedule getting any of our educators in. That if we have educators now that meet the 65 or older caregivers, obviously they can go ahead.
Is that for all school employees or just teachers?
I think it will be anybody that's school because you would potentially interact with students. Our nurses have already been eligible to go, and many of our nurses have already come. We have several nurses that have completed both the first and the second shot. So, yes.
Any other questions for Dr. Whitehead concerning COVID?
And you get a card like this. Put it in your passport because you're going to need it in the future. Just saying. Throwing it out there.
All right, last month, we talked about continuing the mask mandate for our school system month by month, and I'm going to do the same thing for the next month until the next work session. And so we'll just continue to go month by month, and we'll mandate masks this month coming up also. Moving down to the Georgia Leadership Institute.
Yes, sir. So, yes. You may recall last year we were able to use L4 Georgia grant funds to send some of our grant schools to what everybody calls the Glynn Institute. We had to travel to Stone Mountain. Each group had to go twice. We had 5 schools that participated last year, and we ended up with about 30-something people that were able to participate in that included school and district leaders. We had to have coverage in the schools while we had them away for training, all those good things. Well, because of COVID, sometimes look for opportunities, and Glynn had advertised they were going to do a summer institute. It was still going to be in the northern part of the state at Peachtree City. Dr. Spence and I talked about whether that might be something we would look at again as far as sending any teams. And he said, well, what would it look like if they came here? So I was able to start that conversation, and they have actually now put together where they could come here for a week, and they would set up on Jekyll. They've already been in touch with the convention center, and it would allow us to train all of our school administrative teams in addition to our district leadership, and would give us the ability to train about 100 people. Last year, we spent nearly $100,000 just in registration and then travel for those teams twice that went. And so that bill now you see to have up to about 100 people trained is $175,000 that would come out of grant funds. It wouldn't come out of general fund. And it would be a combination of these different federal grants that we have. And those grant funders at the state level recognize GLSSI as a valued part of training, and so they would approve the expense if you approve us making the expenditure of that money. So I don't know if you have any questions about it. What
Again,
we
last
did.
year, we trained about 30% of our administrators. This year, we're going to train 100% of our administrators.
They've also said they will work to obviously keep the pieces that they know are valuable for us to bring in, but they'll work with us in the meantime to tailor content for us based on needs that we have within our system and based on our comprehensive needs assessment for our district and our schools, so that the information would be specific to Glynn. They will open it up if they come here. They've asked if we would be open to that. They would open up to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 seats that they would offer to surrounding counties, and that would also help offset the cost, which reduces our overall expense.
Any questions about this? This is in the summertime also.
Yes,
Not
summer,
during
so we don't have to
school
pull anybody out of school,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
All right, moving on to the technology purchase for Jane Macon.
And so, again, going back to needs within the school and the literacy grant funding, Jane Macon included in their plan this year the desire to bring in some of the Promethean panels and put those into classrooms that support literacy instruction in the building. And it would end up replacing some of the dated technology that they have. And working with Dr. Persino, we've identified where 15 panels could go that would be supported by the L4 Georgia funding.
Any questions there?
Same question as
That's
before.
this.
What rate are we getting for just the panel? If we can include Jane Macon with the other question I had earlier.
To,
David?
He's got it, I'm sorry.
Well, can we get that to you?
Yeah, just before we vote.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay.
curious. I just like to know who they're doing
Yeah,
business
I
with. If
understand.
it were me, I would,
Right.
piggyback for free, do something, but I just want to see if they're charging us $1,000 for one board, $2,000 for the next one, and $2,750 for the other one.
Yes, sir.
We don't matter where the funds are coming from, they're still Glynn County schools, that's all. But yeah, it doesn't have to be tonight or anything, don't worry about it.
Any other questions for Dr. Whitehead? Thank you, Dr. Whitehead.
Thank you. Thank you for staying on top of the COVID stuff, because I can tell by listening to you that you are and have a very good handle on that. Thank you.
I would, yeah. Mr. Boudreaux.
That's me. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
All right, it's going to be a kind of a quickie. Glynn Academy, not much to add from the last time we talked. The GA Physical Education Edition, like I say, we were scheduling around basketball season. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff going on with joint water and sewer and submittals and things like that, but we don't expect to see a whole lot start there until probably February or March, so that's moving on. Altam Elementary School, still behind schedule, but the new revised schedule does show a way to make it all work. Of course, you can make anything work on paper, but the next few 3, 4, 5 weeks will really tell the story. So just hang tight. By next month, I'll have a little more accurate forecast on if we're going to be able to hit our mark at Altama. Center for the Arts, I believe the college is working on intergovernmental agreement.
They're gonna present us with an intergovernmental agreement in the next couple of weeks for us to look over, and we'll meet with them again before the next board meeting, and then we'll see where we're at that point in time.
East Block 4, Mr. Tootin and I have been meeting to try to get the initial projects planned and off the ground for this summer. Those will include some renovations at Needwood, Golden Isles, Oglethorpe, try to get those things started this summer. And we worked with Dr. Salmon yesterday to kind of get the cash flow and the schedules kind of timed out. As you know, we're not doing bonds, so everything's pay as you go, and it makes the cash flow a little more complicated, but it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. So, any questions about East Block 4? I'm going to take care of the GOOD report. As you got in front of you, the report Steve Salmon puts together. Schedule we've already talked about. Only thing probably of good interest would be on page 4, where we review the receipts for East Block 3. We had a good December collection again, over $2 million. We've got one more collection for East Block 3, so as you can see by the graph, we've more than exceeded our projected revenue collections, and we've exceeded what we did last year as well. So it's looking really, really well. So hopefully it'll keep on, and we'll be able to finish up East Block 3 in good fashion.
Any questions for Mr. Boudreau? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Al, I know it's a little bit different than private industry and business, but at Alabama, are we turning on lights, we working nights and weekends yet, or are they just kind of plugging along 410s, or are they? Because at this point, when you're behind on something like that, as a business person, you eat into your own profits trying to make things faster. I know you got subs and that sort of thing, you're beholden to them, you've got to make sure they're happy and that kind of stuff too, but have they done anything to, I know we're changing schedules around, but like you said, on paper, you can make anything look
It was
right.
really quiet over Christmas.
Oh, sure.
I mean, really quiet. That's why I said the next few weeks will tell. We get the roof if the roof starts on Monday like it's supposed to, we'll pick up pace really well.
Okay.
The 400 classroom wing, they're getting ready to turn the heat on in there and start putting doors in and things. So, the classroom wings are going to be done. The slow part is kitchen, cafeteria, and admin.
Gotcha. Okay.
But, like I said, once they get it dried in, it should go pretty quickly. I'm going to give him a chance. It looks like I can still keep my furniture scheduled for April. Most of the furniture's coming to the classroom wings. I feel certain those will be done. And that'll just leave us having to furnish and move into kitchen, cafeteria, and the admin area, and the gym. The gym's easy. So there's still a chance. I have hopes.
Thank you.
But to answer your question, nothing heroic has happened.
Right.
But like I said, next few weeks will really, really tell. I'll get a whole lot better feel by next time we meet. I'll be able to have a little better feel for it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
5B, our vision and mission statement. It's my recommendation that we keep the same statement and not make any changes to it. I'm certainly comfortable with it. Our cabinet's comfortable with it. That would be up to you if you feel comfortable with it. Any questions about the vision and mission statement? Mr. Lakin,
Yes.
resolution for East Block. We can do it here.
When we go into executive session, I'm going to give you all each a draft of a resolution that you get to vote on Tuesday night. I'm going to answer your questions and give some explanation on why we do certain things, but for the public's sake, East Block 4 passed. But we still have to do certain things in the document that you're asked to sign on Tuesday. The Board of Elections also has to sign, and we've got the certified results, the numbers, etc. And I'll go over that when I give this to you in executive session, and I'll answer your questions.
That is all I have. Mr. Chairman.
Alrighty. Thank you, Dr. Spence. That brings us down to number 6. Is there any other before we go into executive session? All right, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for land, legal and personnel.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Jurgen. Need a second, please? Second by Mr. Sams. All those in favor? It's unanimous at 5:37.
Session.
All right, second that motion before. All right, all those
I
in
did,
favor?
motion second.
All in favor? Unanimous at 6:12. All righty, and then I guess I will, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Let me give that one to Dr. Jurgen, in a second.
Second.
And Mr. Olsey, or was that Mr. Manson? Mr. Manson? All those in favor? Unanimous at 6:12, 6:13. I'm gonna pass this around real quick, if y'all decide.